So who can tell me who this is? Any guesses? That's all right, don't feel bad. This is Viktor Troicki. Viktor is the 100th ranked tennis player in the world. Okay, some of you know tennis, you know the rankings are weekly, so he averaged about 100th last year. Viktor earned $400,000 in prize money in 2018, not bad, huh? What's interesting stat about Viktor, Viktor wins 49% of the points that he plays. So just under half of the points earns him 100th place, 100th ranked, 400,000 income. Even if you don't know tennis, who can tell me who this fine gentleman is? Shout him out if you know. Novak. Novak Djokovic. He is 4-time Wimbledon champion. He has 15 Grand Slam titles. What's interesting about Novak, Novak was Viktor back in 2004. He had the same stats. He actually had 49% of the points won. Conveniently, that also, or coincidentally, 49% of the games won. He was also ranked about 100th and was earning, at that time, about 300 grand. Again, not bad, playing tennis. But what he did is he focused in that next year, in 2006, on can I make a small little difference in one area that's going to make a dramatic difference in overall results. What he focused on was the fundamentals of his game. He hired a new coach. And he drove that just by 3%, that points won. What difference do you think that made? Huge. He was up now to 79% of his games. And what that did is catapult him to number 3 in the world. Took his earnings to $5 million a year. Now, Novak being Novak didn't just stop there. He said, okay, if I did it once, maybe I can do it again. So in 2010, he hired another coach, went through some fundamentals, and was able to drive it up again another 3 percentage points. Now take a look at this. The difference that that made took his games percent up to 90, catapulted him by far to number 1 in the world. And at that point, earning a small sum of about $14 million a year, capping out at over $23 million last year. Pretty good stuff, huh? Now, Novak being Novak again, you're probably curious to see, okay, what's he doing this year? For those of you who follow tennis, well, he's at it again. He's on his way to do it one more time. Interestingly, he's at 91%. Still at number 1, obviously. He's projected to earn $31 million a year. Unbelievable, right? Crazy. So here's the thing that's fascinating. This is such a small difference. Who in here plays tennis? See some hands? So you may have done the math on this. What does this really amount to? This is such a small difference. This 3% incremental change. It amounts to 1 extra point every 4 games. Think about it. It's crazy. It's not like 1 point every game. It's 1 point every 4 games. That's the difference. And that's what's fascinating. And that's what that edge is all about. The 3% edge means everything in sports. It means everything in leadership. And ultimately, it means everything in life. But why do some people do it? Why can a Novak do that? And why do some people really never harness that ability? Well, there are reasons that stop people. And ultimately, it comes down to a few things. First is they focus too much on their weaknesses. Okay, we all have weaknesses, right? Who has a weakness? Of course. We're not perfect, nobody is. But successful people figure out how to turn that weakness sometimes into a strength. They overcome it, they don't let themselves stop it. You've got people, for example, like Princess Diana. Princess Diana thought she was too tall. She suffered from major self-esteem and felt like she was awkward. Yet she became the personification of grace and actually became a style icon. You've got other people on the other side of the height spectrum. At 4'11", Mother Teresa, who at that small stature had a giant level of impact and influence, right? You've got other people like Richard Branson. Richard Branson suffers from dyslexia. So bad, his teachers thought he was lazy or dumb, or both. And it also almost cost him his life. He was skydiving, and instead of pulling the ripcord, which was on this side, to release the parachute, he pulled another cord that actually detaches the backpack. Which I don't know why that's even an option. I don't know. I don't know. I don't write the rules on skydiving, but anyways, strange. But here's the fascinating thing. What Richard Branson says to this day is that was an advantage for him. The fact that he has dyslexia, what it forced him to do is delegate, which opened up his brain to focus on the bigger picture and focus on strategy and vision, and unbelievably successful business person. You got other people like Thomas Edison. You may not know, but Thomas Edison was legally deaf. 80% in one ear, 50% in another. In his other ear. He was offered the ability to do an experimental procedure that would correct his hearing, and he turned it down. He turned it down because he said his deafness was a strength. It was an advantage. It enabled him to focus more and concentrate more, and his creativity was bigger, and he was one of the most brilliant minds ever. A weakness became a strength. And you got people like Gandhi. Some of you may not know, Gandhi actually started off as an attorney. He had a law practice, yet he failed. And the reason he failed was because he couldn't speak in front of public, in front of a group. He couldn't speak in front of anything more than 2 people. He would get anxiety. He couldn't do a closing argument, and his law practice failed. Yet somehow he was able to command, in only his style, an entire nation to protest in a nonviolent way. Unbelievably impactful person. And we just heard from Phil Hansen. Let's give it up for Phil Hansen. Unbelievable, right? What a great example of somebody who had a weakness that turned it into a strength. A nerve disorder that now actually, I would say, he's now a better artist than he was even before. Would you agree with that? Unbelievable, absolutely. Fascinating story. The second problem is they care too much what people think. This is the second thing that holds people from finding that edge. I don't know if you know Chester Carlson. I don't know if you can tell what that is in that picture there. But here's the interesting thing. Chester came up with an invention. And his first rejection letter read this. Who wants to copy a document on plain paper? Anybody know what this invention was? Well, he went on to start Xerox. Okay, he didn't care what people thought. Okay, you got other people like Fred Smith. Fred went to Yale. He wrote a paper proposing an idea about reliable overnight delivery. Okay, and his Yale professor had some pretty clear words for him. His Yale professor said, the concept's interesting and well-formed, but in order to do better than a C, this idea has to be feasible. I mean, come on, give me a break. Well, Fred decided to respond the only appropriate way and start the tiny little company called FedEx. Great example. You've also got people like Oprah Winfrey. Incredible talent. Well, not everybody thought she was. When she started, she was fired from her first anchor job for being, quote, dull, for being stiff and lacking talent. Yet that didn't stop her. She won 16 Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Talk Show Host. And by the way, accumulated a paltry $2.5 billion in net worth along the way. That's pretty good. Not too bad. And then lastly, one of my favorite, you got J.K. Rowling. Any Harry Potter fans out there? Okay, well, the first 12 publishers, I have to tell you, were not Harry Potter fans. She was rejected from 12 publishers. One of those publishers, she sent a rejection letter or published it, and it recommended that she take a writing class at her local college. Well, Harry Potter went on to earn 20 billion, not million. That's billion, that's correct. One of my favorite quotes, it's impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. How true is that? Lastly, what plagues us as leaders from finding that 3% edge or that 1% edge? What holds us back? There's a common problem that holds leaders back. And one of them is they lack versatility. What does that actually mean? Well, they lack the ability to adapt their leadership style. They get set in a box and they use the same leadership style every single time with everybody. They lack versatility, which in essence is almost like a pitcher, if you're a baseball fan. I had to do my Boston Red Sox Reference there, Boston, yes, there we go. But it's like a pitcher with only one pitch, right? That wouldn't work. Or a singer with one note. That wouldn't work either, right? Okay, we know this. Yet, 54% of leaders use the same style of leadership in every situation, with every single person. Why? Only 1% of leaders are fully versatile. And how we define that is they can use 4 different leadership styles at different times at the right points. Unbelievable difference. If you're asking yourself, how do I get into that? We're going to explore this today at 2:45. In my breakout session, we're going to dive deep, and we're going to go through what the leadership styles are, how to identify readiness. We're going to talk about situations where different styles can be appropriate, and most important, we're going to have a lot of fun doing it too. But guess what, gang? It's time to adapt. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering, okay, well, am I already part of this 1%? Maybe I am already there. Who would like to figure this out right now? Want to figure out actually if you're in the 1%? Because I actually came up with a test that we can do right here to figure out if you're actually in the top 1%. Okay, I know you walked in here and you're wondering, okay, what are these corks for? Okay, well, you have a cork on your seat. Take these out for me right now. Now, I will tell you, this took me a lot of time to prepare. We got to get this right. This was a lot of bottles of wine I had to drink over the last few months. So let's make this count, okay? So here's what we're going to do. All I want you to do, and we'll get the camera to zoom in on me, I want you to just take your corks, and all I want you to do is hold them up for me like this. Put them in your hand like this. Pointing toward me and toward you. Everybody got them? I see a bunch of hands up, okay? Now I'm going to demonstrate this for you twice. Just watch. I'm going to demonstrate it, and I'm going to give you 15 seconds to do it. We don't have a lot of time, okay? But some of you will be able to do this, okay? All I want you to do is using your thumb and your pointer finger. That's it. Not these fingers, not these guys. Just your thumb and your pointer finger. That's it. And you're only allowed to grab the ends of the cork. What I want you to do is reach in and pull them apart. That's it. Okay, now all I want you to do is that. Now I'm going to demonstrate it one more time for you, okay? Then I'm going to give you 15 seconds to try this out. You're just going to reach in and grab it and pull it apart. Right? We ready to go? All right, 15 seconds. Let's go. All right, time's up. All right, who did it, honestly? Okay, I see a couple of hands. Stand up if you did it, just real quick. Okay, we see about 1%. Okay, here's the deal. Congrats to those of you who did it. Some of you may have seen it before, but here's the deal. Don't lose faith. If you didn't get it, that's okay. Okay, because I'm gonna make 2 promises to you. Everybody wants to know how to do this? Kind of a cool trick. At 2:45, come to my workshop. I'm going to make you 2 promises. 1, I'm going to show you how to do this trick, and I'm going to show you what it has to do with leadership, because it does. There's a tie-in. The second promise I'm going to make you is you will leave a better leader than you came in, because I'm going to give you the tools to be a versatile leader and be part of this 1%. Thank you, everybody.